Hari Om. Good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome. Please come. Let's pray together and then we'll start our session. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya Sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord, the omnipresent and omnipotent Almighty, who also has the divine names Aniruddha and Suranandaha, to such a divine Lord, together we offer our humble prayers filled with devotion, gratitude, surrender and prapatti, to seek your grace, your mercy, your blessings, your love, your strength, your forgiveness, Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. O Lord, please bestow upon us all these divine qualities, only and only to understand your divine nature. And we beseech in you to bless us with your heavenly abode at the end of our lives. Om Tat Sat. So today we are on our Divine Discourse number 243, the 16th of November 2021, Plavanama Samvatsara, Dakshinayana, Sharadrutu, Kartika Mas, Shukla Paksh, Dwadashi, Revati Nakshatra, Siddhi Yoga and Balavakarane. On this auspicious day of Tuesday and the time of the evening, Na ham karta, Hari Preranaya, Hari Prityartam. We all make a firm resolve that whatever is happening in our lives is only and only due to the grace and compassion of the Lord to uplift us from this ocean of births and deaths. We treat every occasion, every incident, every circumstance, every person, object, place as all sent by the Divine Almighty to uplift my life. With this firm conviction and surrender, we accept everything with a smile and devotion. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om. Good evening to all of you once again. Now, as you all must have observed, we are going deeper and deeper. And in the most intricate aspect of our spiritual journey. Like here, the Lord is in the first 6 chapters. He spoke about the Tvam. Tvam means you. We as a Jiva. He spoke about that. And in the next 6 chapters, he spoke about Tat. Tat it is. He, the Paramatma. What is his nature? And now, from chapter 13 to 18, the last 6 chapters, he is purely talking about Asi. Asi means how they both are one. They are not two separate things. They appear separately. Just like as the wave appears separately from the ocean. But in essence, what is the ocean and what is that wave? They both are water and water alone. So that aspect now Bhagavan Sri Krishna is unfolding verse by verse. So as you all know, Arjuna asked Lord Krishna 3 couple questions, and out of which now up to verse number 6, the Lord answered Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Now these are all to prepare you for a right understanding, because eventually from verse 26 to 34, in the last segment, he is going to talk about this divine knowledge. He is going to take these 3 couple questions, all totally 6 questions together, and he is going to elaborate on them. He is going to talk at depth on those questions. So we need to understand these terminologies. So Kshetra and Kshetrajna we have understood. Then the second couple question, the first half was Jnana, which is from verse 7 to 11. And this Jnana consisted of, he says, now I need to prepare you. And he gave us those beautiful 20 qualities. He gave us homework. Basically, this is homework. You now prepare yourself to receive me or to understand me. You need to have that clarity of your mind. So those 20 questions, 20 qualities were given, and then from verse 12 onwards, he started talking about himself. I'm just giving you an inkling, he said, where after having gained that knowledge, gained the strength of those 20 qualities, you are in a much better position to see me. And then he said, now I'm going to tell you a little about me. And he starts from the 12th verse. Now if you see in the 12th verse, what did he say? Gneyam yatyat pravakshami, yattat pravakshami, yajñatvam amritamashnute, anadimat param brahma, nasat sannasaduchyate. He said, I'm now going to reveal to you that which is ought to be known, meant to be known. And he says, by knowing that, one will attain immortality. This is a promise he makes. Even before starting to talk about himself, so this is what the Lord makes as a promise. Yad gatvana nivartante taddhama paramam mama. One of the Upanishad says this, Yad gatvana nivartante. Having reached there, having reached a particular destination, taddhama paramam mama, there is nothing else to be reached in your life. So meaning, having known that Lord, you have nothing more to know in your life. That is the simple understanding, he said. So, what is that understanding we need to? Let's get an inkling of that. See, we all have our modifications in ourselves. Now we are learning from Tattva Bodha. We have 3 bodies. We all are under the impression that we have 1 body. But Tattva Bodha, which tells us with more details, he says you have Stula Sharira, you have Sukshma Sharira, and you have Karana Sharira. And now we have understood Stula and Sukshma in detail, and Karana also. We are almost there. Now these vikaras which happen in the Stula, Sukshma and Karana, now when all these vikaras, they become nirvikari. Nirvikari means this continuous change which is there in your understanding. When you are completely out of that process of change, that is when you are able to understand the reality. He says this is extremely important. As far as your mind is wavering, you are with your mind, you will not be able to understand me. And then he goes on to say that Yad Gnatva Amrutam Ashnute. He only said Yad Gnatva, meaning Gnatva means to understand and realize. He didn't say Yad Krutva. Yad Krutva means doing something. Doing something like what? That you have to do some worship, or you have to chant some mantras, or you have to do some dhyana, or you have to listen to something. No, that is all krutva, where you are doing something. He says no krutva. He says this knowledge is the ultimate, is yat gnatva. Because all these what I said, krutva meaning doing, we have already completed in the 12 chapters. Various forms of doing. Now a sadhak has grown. He has come to a stage where he has done enough of mantra meditation, he has done enough of puja, he has done enough of dhyana, he has done enough of shravana and manana. He says, now you understand. Yad gnatva, not just listening, but realizing and experiencing what you have listened to. So the process is listen, understand, realize, and make it your experience. So in this way, Lord Shri Krishna, he slowly takes you forward. In the 12th verse, he made a promise. Now, he comes to the 13th verse. Now remember, we have already completed verse 13 as well. I'm just giving you a recap. So, 12th verse, he made a promise. And now in 13th verse, he starts telling you that you are not this Stula Sharira. What is your understanding? You think that you are this body, this Stula Sharira, which is made up of those Panchabhutas. He says you are not that. And there he justified in the previous verse. He said, look at the world outside you. You have everything outside you is nothing but those Panchabhutas. And everything inside you is also Panchabhutas. If you feel thirsty, Then you ask for water and you take water from the external world and you drink it and you're satiated. In the same way, you get hungry, you ask for food from outside. In the same way, moment to moment, you're asking for air, that oxygen from the outside universe. So likewise, even the temperature, your temperature has to be maintained. It can neither go down nor it can go up. So any change in the temperature, you are dependent on the temperature outside. So likewise, he said, you are none other than what is in the external universe. Don't think that this body is yours. It is created by me. The one who is the cause for this Prakriti which created. Sarvasya karanam sarvasya adhara achintya rupam. Such a Lord, the Paramatma, is the cause for this samasta bhuta. Samasta bhuta means the entire creation. And he is that ever shining as Paramatma Tattva in this samasta bhuta. Asti Brahma Jagat Karanam. As the Upanishad says, there is one and only cause for this entire creation, that is Brahma. Through Prakriti, he has been operating. So this is the first knowledge he gives us, Gneya. Understand. What is the cause for your creation? What is your truth, your Satya? What is your Swarupa? What is your Tattva? So this Satya, Swarupa, Tattva, once you understand of your own self, and then only you can realize me. Without understanding your own self, if you come to understand me, it is a sheer waste. That same person is one in all. That you, me, in yourself is that one, and not what you have understood yourself to be as this limited individual creature or an entity. Ahamasmi, Sohamasmi, Brahmasmi, Aham eva juhomi swaha. Realize that there is no me, I, there is God and God alone. So with this concept of the 5 elements, he breaks the notion of what a sadhak has got in his mind, that he is this body. But am I here? I am entirely dependent on the 5 elements outside, and within me I am dependent on the 5 elements inside. So in this way, now after breaking the notion of the Stula Sharira, now he takes us to the Sukshma Sharira. He says, even you are not even the Sukshma Sharira. Now remember, what is the configuration of Sukshma Sharira? The 5 senses, the 5 pranas, the 5 organs of action. Then you have the Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Now these are, and even the 5 Panchakoshas. So like this, these are the 24 elements which constitute the Sukshma Sharira. He says, you are not this. And now he goes on to explain how you are not this. Okay, let's understand this now. Let's read the verse. Sarvendriya guna bhasam Sarvendriya vivarjitam Asaktam sarva bhrutchaiva Nirgunam guna bhoktacha. Now, I'll first give you a top view, and then we'll go into the close-up. Sarvendriya guna bhasam, that which gives life to each and every sense organ. But Sarvendriya vivarjitam, the second part of the first line, that which gives life to every sense organ, but Sarvendriya vivarjitam means, but this life-giving principle has no sense organ by itself. Now, how do you understand this? Very simple. Just like you have electricity in your home, in electricity there is no bulb or fan or heater or TV or mixie or refrigerator, whatever it is. It's not there in the electricity. But without electricity, none of these can function. Now this is the concept which he has given here. So then later on, let's relate it to the sense organ and the consciousness. Okay. So Sarvendriya vivarjitam also means that this tattva gives life to all the senses, and the tattva has no senses of its own. Now the second line, asaktam sarva bhrutchaiva. So what is the meaning of sarva bhrit over here? It is the Adhar or the life principle of everything, but it is at the same time asakta. Although it is the life principle of everything, it is asakta, means it is unattached. Now there is electricity. Now that electricity is giving the power to operate each and every component in your house. But is it attached to that component? If you suddenly switch off, let's say, is it going to get disturbed? Arey, why did you, I have been with this for the last 2 hours, 3 hours, you are watching the TV, I was attached to this TV, what a nice program is going on, how did you suddenly switch me off? Is it under any attachment? No. When you want it, it is there. When you don't want, it is there. It is not there. Now, these are all concepts, principles. So please understand this, because this is going to help you in our later study. Lord Krishna is going to expand on these statements and give you the final knowledge. So he says consciousness is in the same way like electricity. It gives that strength for each and every sense organ to function, but at the same time, it is not attached to the senses. Thinking that there is an attachment is a sheer lie. Thinking or even imagining that I cannot, like as we say, I cannot live without so and so person or a particular thing or a particular object. Some people say, in the morning when I get up, I need 1 cup of steaming tea or coffee, without which I cannot function. Now, understand carefully. This is only a swabhava. Swabhava means our habit, but it is not our swarupa. Being unattached is our swarupa. So these are all, over a period of time, you have picked up certain habits that becomes your swabhav. We say, no, it's his nature. It's swabhav, his habit. But swarupa is what? None of this is attached. Like for example, you do, let's say, upavas. Now you are in silence, mauna you do. You are in silence for the whole day. Now, how did this come? How did you manage to be silent for the whole day? So here you can make out that mouth is not attached to speech or talking. It is when you want, it's an organ, when you want to use it. Otherwise you don't use it. In the same way, for a cup of tea or coffee, it is the tongue which wanted. So, go deeper and understand, we have left our childhood. After childhood, we became a youth. When we left childhood, nothing happened. When we left that boyhood, girlhood, nothing happened. Then the youth came in, nothing happened. We left it also. Then we became middle-aged. Then at one point, we left middle-aged also. Then we became old. Now in this entire process, in this prakriya, this prakriti is continuously changing. But is there any attachment if you see in the true sense? Only we by ignorance and our nature, we get attached. It's our imagination and it's purely kalpanik. Asaktam sarva brutchaiva. That true self or tattva within you is not attached to anyone inside you. He is also nirgunam. Nirgunam meaning he has got no specific characteristics. He is the root cause of all gunas, like the sattva, rajas and tamas, but he is not specifically attached to a characteristics. And although he is the adhar of the sattva, rajas, tamas, it is neither any of them. Nirgunam guna bhoktrucha. He becomes nirguna and free from bhoktrutva and kartrutva. What is the meaning of bhoktrutva? The enjoyership. I am enjoying this cup of coffee. I am enjoying this nice sweet dish. I am enjoying this nice outing. I am enjoying this piece of music. It is not the consciousness which is enjoying. Please understand this. What is enjoying? The sense organ is enjoying. Then the mind is enjoying, but not the consciousness. Even the kartrutva, that I am doing this, I am doing that, I am taking this, I am giving this. All that is done by the sense organs and the motor organs, organs of action. So, if one is able to understand this difference, now who is that one over there? That aham bhava which is there in us, that embodiment of me, myself, which has been a part and parcel of this whole fight. Now what is the Lord trying to tell us over here? Arey Baba, I created this prakriti, this entire universe, and it is me consciousness which is in between, giving the strength to the entire universe. Even the so-called creation of you, everything is me and me alone. Now from where did this blessed I come in between? You have come in and you are saying, I am enjoying this, I am doing this, I am liking this, I hate this. He says, you have understood that as the KHSETRAJNA. He says, it is not that. Understand that you are not that. It is on one hand the consciousness, Chaitanya Shakti, and on the other hand it is the Prakriti which Lord has created. Everything is going in tandem, but this I in between has come and you have become the enjoyer and you have become the sufferer. The moment you get out of this I concept, that peace, tranquility which is beyond the silence, which is beyond that Shanti, what we call it, is there anything beyond Shanti? Yes. That is known as Prashanti. What is the difference between Shanti and Prashanti? Shanti is a state of mind where there is no Ashanti. Simple. When there is no Ashanti, it is Shanti, where it's a peaceful state of mind. And what is Ashanti? Where there is no Shanti, where your mind is agitated. But now there is one more stage. In the normal course, as far as you are in your mind, there is Shanti and Ashanti, Shanti and Ashanti, one after the other. But when you cross over your mind, when you reach the Supreme, which is the force behind the mind, the sense and the body, there is Prashanti, which is beyond the state of Shanti or Ashanti. This is a state where the Jiva has crossed the mind. It has understood its true self. As far as it is in its own ego, in its own mind, in its own body, in its own senses, it is always wavering between Shanti and Ashanti, Shanti and Ashanti. But the moment it crosses the mind, it goes higher. Nirgunam guna bhoktracha. It becomes nirguna and free from guna bhoktru, means free from bhoktrutva and kartrutva. Now, this is the top view I have given. As we say, bird's eye view. Now let's go to a close-up of this shloka. See, our entire game is in, you can call it as undressing. We have all dressed up with so many things and we think that we are that. We are not that. We are something else. So here the Lord is saying, you are thinking that you are the body, you are thinking that you are the senses, you are thinking that you are the mind. No. You are something else, because this is all imaginary. So now he comes to the sukshmatvat, sukshmatattva, this subtle aspect. Sarvendriya guna bhasam. We are restarting now with a close-up view. Sarvendriya guna bhasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam. Now, if you experience happiness, sukh, think for a moment, from where did this sukh or happiness come from? We all experience. By various things, no? We experience happiness. Now, for example, you felt happy when a cool wave of breeze touched you. Now, why did you feel happy? Because you were perspiring with heat. You just wanted some cool wave of breeze. You were not able to tolerate perspiring, sweating, irritating. Okay. In the month of April, May, this happens. You are somewhere, there is no AC, there is no fan, there is no breeze. Then a cool wave comes, you say, ah, so nice. Now, another situation. Again, at one point of time, a cool wave of breeze touches you and you feel uncomfortable. And you start grumbling. My God, already it is so terribly cold, and in this cold weather, it is windy again. You feel upset and uncomfortable. Let's say in the month of December, Jan, in that extreme cold weather. Now, let's analyze both these situations. The windy breeze is the same. In one situation you felt happy, and in the other situation you felt unhappy. Why? Because the problem is at my end. Happiness or unhappiness is not in the wind, but it was in my experience or anubhav. Now, from where was this experience coming? It came from the skin. Otherwise, it is the same breeze, isn't it? Poor thing, what that breeze has done. There is a change in the temperature. The breeze has been the same. Now the skin likes a particular quantum of temperature. So where is the problem? The problem is in my skin, my tongue, my sight, my hearing interest, my mind. All the time. Problem is not outside, but from my own side, rather inside. Because I am tuned to liking certain things. I'll give you another example. In Karnataka, the state from where I come, once I had gone to invite a few relatives and guests for a wedding in the family. And there is a particular kind of a It's on the lines of green peas. It is known as avarekalu. Okay. Now this is like in one particular season, you get it for about 2 months or so in a year, and you should see like it's very tasty. Everybody uses this for everything. So it so happened that I went in the morning to invite a relative, and they had made upma. Nice upma with this peas, avarekalu. Nice. Wow, I was relishing. And put some ghee and nice dressing and all that, enjoying. Now what happened? My process was on, inviting people. I went to another house, and lunchtime, yes, I had to have lunch there with them. And there I see they had made sambar with that same avarekalu. Okay, fine. Now already the level of liking had declined. Morning I had enough of avarekalu. Now again in the afternoon for this lunch sambar, there is loads and loads of that peas inside there. Fine. Then for dinner, in one place they had made dosa. And for that dosa, they had given that same avarekalu's side dish, that sabji, what you call, I said, my God, morning, afternoon, night, see, the same thing is there, but it has already started displeasing me. And what is that me over there? It is my sense and my mind. And I tell you, the next day the same thing happened again. And I was shocked. I said I should not get into this anymore. But luckily I finished and I got out. Now what I'm trying to say here is, the outside situation is the same. There is no change in that. But the level of experience what I am getting is changing from time to time. So the problem is with our senses, be it the skin, my tongue, or my eyesight, or my hearing interests, or my mind. Sarvendriya guna bhasam, Sarvendriya vivarjitam. See, this is a great thought. All the thoughts happening in your mind, that joy, sorrow, that embarrassment, that atrocious nature, the lovable nature, the respecting nature, the tolerance, the intolerance, all these emotions are happening in one's own mind, one's own self, based on the effects of the senses interacting with the sense objects. Therefore, the likes and dislikes are not in the objects. Objects means the outside objects. Like this breeze is an outside object. That avarekalu, what I told, is an outside object. Or incidents. Like it is not for the tongue. Then for whom is all these likes and dislikes? Sarvendriya guna bhasam, to that person who is sitting inside. That abhasam, who is experiencing and saying, I want this, I don't want this. I want this way, I don't want it that way. Sarvendriya vivarjitam. When you have crossed over the senses, the gunas, the objects of senses, then comes a state, asaktam sarva brachaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. So he says, you cross over. As far as you are in that senses, mind, and the objects of senses, you are stuck. Crossover. See how clearly it is told. Guna bruk, meaning gunan bhartruiti, one who nourishes the gunas. The moment you realize, the moment you understand, you cross over, knowing that the problems are not outside, but they are within me. In how I am reacting to the outside world. how I am reacting to the objects of the senses which are in the outside world through my senses. This is what needs to be understood. So the problems, disagreements, enmity, ups and downs are not in the objects of senses, but in the person who takes all these aspects, perceives through his senses. With him is the real and true problem. Outside, sense objects. They are all the same. Inside, who is that? The driver of the senses. Always unaffected. Who is that? Consciousness, which we also called as God. In between, there is this mind, ahambhava, the sense organs, which play mischief, and that is that jivatva. Another example, electricity. It has got no light of its own. It illumines that instrument of light. Like if there is a 100-watt bulb, it gives to the extent of 100 watts. If there is a 1000-watt bulb, it will give light to the extent of 1000 watt. If there is a fan, it will give cool air. If there is a heater, it will give warm air, or it will heat the water. So we have to understand this. So it's also said in the chapter 15, verse 9 and 10. The same thing, what the Lord. So let's understand for our clarity what we say, Shrotram chakshu sparshanancha rasanam ghranameva adhishtaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. He's saying, using these sense perceptions of the ears, eyes, skin, tongue and nose, which are all backed by the mind, this embodied soul, embodied means this jiva, it enjoys the objects of the senses. This is what is happening, isn't it, with us? Just now what we understood. Now in the subsequent verse 10, Utkramantam sthitam vapi bunjanam vagunanvitam vimuda nanu pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. So here is giving vimudha and jnana chakshu. Vimuda is a duffer, a dull person, or an ignorant person. As per spirituality, we call him ignorant. He doesn't understand anything of this spirituality. And jnana chakshusha, a person who has got the eyes of wisdom. So the ignorant, they do not perceive that there is a jivatma in me, a soul that it resides in the body. He does not understand that. And that jivatma enjoys the sense objects. And nor do they even understand when he departs. Departs meaning from this world. He doesn't understand. Right from the beginning of his understanding of the world till the time he dies, he knows one thing, that he as a jivatma, he is enjoying through his senses with the outside world. But it is that rare person who possesses the eyes of knowledge. He understands in the true sense. This is what in the subsequent 15th chapter the Lord says. Vimuda nanu pashyanti. One who is that vimuda, that fool, he creates a problem for himself. That indifferences, they are within him. That enmity which he has, that is within him. His mind is filled with all these vices. Such a person also does not understand and recognize that this is that vimudha. Vimudha means Vishesha Muda. He is an extraordinary ignorant person. He, rather than recognizing the problem to be within him, always thinks that the problem is with the other person. Look at ourselves and see. Have you heard anybody saying, that person was right and I was wrong? It's always we say, how much I tell, man, that person doesn't understand. I'm fed up. It's not only me, so many people have told that person, but he doesn't understand or she doesn't understand. So we always think the problem is with the other person, with the other situation, and we always keep experiencing problem. And that mind which is within us, it sits merrily and it is enjoying itself. And we will never resolve problems. So this pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. So seeing with this eyes of knowledge, once this mudatva or this avivekatva is erased and wiped off by reasoning, this vicharana, this inquiry, what we call, then he clearly understands that there are no imbalances in the prakriti or the outside world. There are no differences. All differences are in my understanding process. If one can understand that there is an imbalance in the understanding process of his own mind, then he gets that jnana chakshushaha. He starts looking at things differently. He knows what is permanent, what is impermanent. Why am I after these small petty things? Let me look at a larger picture. At that point, all the problems will meet their end. Asaktam sarva bruchaiva. The one who has got this clear understanding realizes that all the problems are not outside but in my own self. They are all self-created in me and me alone. Simple example. Blame it on your karma. Say that I got it and I am now settling my account with that person. This way, be satisfied. I'm just giving an understanding to this. Make those mental adjustments. God is doing everything for my upliftment. Or you can say He is creating these tough situations for vairagya, for dispassion. Because I've been doing the same thing again and again and again and again. He's again and again giving me problems and telling, are you not bored with what you're doing? Get lost with that. So, this problems, this vikalpa, who is able to drive away all such distortions? Now he becomes a nirguna. Nirguna means he now doesn't have anything, neither sattva, he is wanting to be good, nor rajas, he is wanting to be actively agitated, nor tamas, he is thinking ill of that person. Guna bhoktrucha, he is outside the realm of these three gunas. In fact, this sattva, rajas, tamas, the entire next chapter is on sattva, rajas, tamas. And when a person behaves in such way, when he has come to a state where he is nirguna, then what happens? Now this is an extremely important thing, please understand. Now this is explained in the chapter 5, 8th and 9th verse. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyate tattvavita pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapnan shwasan prapalan visarjan ghrinnan unmishan nimishanapi indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. This person now how he has become? He knows I am that ego which is stuck in between as the doer, where really I am not doing anything. On one hand, through Prakriti, Lord has created this body. He has created this mind. He has created these senses. And from time to time, He is taking care of this body, isn't it? Every moment He is giving you that breath. Every day, from time to time, He is feeding this body with water and food. He is enabling the blood circulation. He is digesting the food. He is excreting the waste. He is giving the nutrition. So He says, I am not the doer. Think about this. And even while engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, moving, sleeping, breathing, speaking, excreting, grasping, and opening or closing the eyes, what does He say? I am not the doer. This just now what we read as, Pashyan means seeing, Shrinvan means hearing, Sprishan means touching, Jigran means smelling, Ashnan means eating, Gachan means moving. So this un which came, that is all ing. So this person has understood. With this knowledge of the divine, he sees that it is only the material senses, they are moving in the objects of senses, and I have got nothing to do over here. Because now he has crossed over. He says this body is made from what? From Prakriti, material energy of God. And all the works are done by the power of God. Without that consciousness, hey man, you're dead. Have you understood that? So he has surrendered to the will of the God. And it depends upon him to inspire his mind and intellect in accordance to that divine will. He constantly remains in that understanding that God is the doer of everything. It's not me. That sage Vashishta, Brahma Maharishi Vashishta, he tells Lord Rama. This comes in the Yoga Vashishta. Karta Bahir Kartantar Loke Vihara Raghava, he says. Raghava is, O Ram, when you are externally engaged in actions diligently, you are doing your work, meaning you are hearing, seeing, smelling, touching, giving, taking, but internally practice to see yourself as the non-doer and always think that God is the prime mover of all your activities. Now this is one great takeaway. We are all doing actions. Now I am talking, you are listening, you are understanding. All this is happening. Don't ever think that you are doing this. Neither I am talking nor you are listening. It is God and God alone who is talking, and God alone who is listening. This should be our understanding. In this divine consciousness, a great karma yogi, he sees himself as a mere instrument in the hands of God. This is how it is. We have to rise to this situation. Unless and until we rise with these basic facts, we are caught in the web of the mind, which is Maya. Nothing other than Maya. Sarvendriya guna bhasam, Sarvendriya vivarjitam, asaktam sarva brachaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. Such a person reaches that state of nirguna. I am not doing anything. It is the Lord and Lord alone who is doing everything. Not only in me, in everybody else. So if a person against you is acting weird, yes, Lord and Lord alone is doing it. You don't say that this person with a name so and so who is a male or a female, who is related to me in this way, or who is of a certain stature, he or she is doing this, then you will start getting into an animosity. And then the revenge will come. Then with that grudge, you will start planning how I can give it back. No. It is me, in me the God is bearing it, and in that person opposite me, God is doing it. You are nowhere there. Live in this thought. That is what even Brahma Rishi Yoga in Sage Vashishta, he tells Lord Rama, imagine, what are we after all? These are the simple takeaways which we need to have in life. So now, Lord Krishna, Paramatma, what did he say? Taking the 5 elements, he defied that you are the Sthula Sharira. He says, you are not. It is me. I have created. Why are you unnecessarily getting into that, thinking that you are doing it? No. And then in this 14th verse, he clearly told us that even the Sukshma Sharira of yours, it is not you. It is me and me alone. With this now, is helping us to get out of these clutches of this body, mind, intellect complex. And now in the next 2 verses, he is going to go to the Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira, as the very name says, it is the cause. Karana means cause. Cause for what? The coming into being of the Sukshma and the Sthula Sharira. Which means after your death, what happens? The Sthula Sharira remains here for cremation, and the Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira, they travel, and whatever impressions are there in the Karana Sharira, that becomes the cause, and the effect will be another birth as per the karmic account. So now let's understand Karana Sharira in the next class and make up our mind. Now these are all thoughts for our understanding. We have to again and again think. And as you know, only the fortunate get this opportunity. Having come so close, now that ice cream it's in your hand, you're bringing it to your mouth, but it should not fall down. Ensure that there is something below that ice cream which is getting into your mouth. Even if it falls down, it falls into a cup or in a plate. We all have come so close. Ensure nothing drops to the floor. Listen, understand, contemplate, and make that your experience. And the biggest advantage here is, even if you don't talk of any false promises, oh, this liberation, moksha, another life, you can leave all that aside. But one thing you will get is, you will get that enormous amount of peace of mind, that happiness, that prashanti, what I told you. You are not in this shanti, ashanti, shanti, ashanti. You are crossed both shanti and ashanti, and you are in the stage of prashanti, where there is bliss and bliss alone. Who does not want that? The whole world is running after that, but in the wrong place. This is the right place. And I'm talking with my own experience, I'm telling you. This is the immediate result of this knowledge. Make it yours, embrace it, and be one with it. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Now, let's take the divine names of the Lord. So today we are studying 185. Aniruddha, one who cannot be obstructed or resisted by anyone. Irresistibly, the will of the Lord functions in the world of created things and beings. Just as in the world of matter, the laws of nature are irresistible. The rhythm and harmony of truth ever march in their external logic of objectless love and immaculate perfection. Time and tide wait for none. When the sun rises, the living creatures absorb energy and nothing can obstruct their process. In the presence of the self, the worlds of matter must get thrilled into their own independent activities. And in all these welter of efforts and exertions, achievements and failures, joys and sorrows, the self is not involved by the irresistible enchantment of his presence. Nirgunam guna bhoktracha, the same thing what we spoke. In the Puranas we find Bhagavan Vishnu taking up in his various incarnations different manifested forms, and in all of them he is victorious, ever irresistible, meaning Aniruddha, in his own might. This is Aniruddha. Next, 186. Suranandaha, one who gives delight to the gods. Now what is that? So the basic meaning of Surananda is Suran Anandyati iti Suranandaha. He is the source of delight to the Devas, and hence he is called Suranandaha. Like in Anandavalli of Taittiriya Upanishad, Anandam Brahmeti Vyajanat. So here he says, the Rishi concludes that all joys of the worlds and heavens, mental and supramental, are all but flickerings of the infinite bliss, which is Lord Mahavishnu. So the word Sura is composed of Su and Ra. Su means good, Ra means give. Bhagavan is the one who gives happiness to those who bring good to the world. He assigns different functions to the various Devas and delights them by helping them in times of their distress. One instance of this is when the milky ocean was churned and the Lord gave the nectar or amritam to the Suras. Suras is the Devatas. All the incarnations of Bhagavan were designed to elevate the sufferings of the Devatas by getting rid of the demons. From time to time, like the Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, who were oppressing them. Hence, he is rightly called as Suranandaha. To such a divine Lord, Aniruddha and Suranandaha, we offer our humble and grateful salutations. Now, to achieve anything, we need health. Let's pray to Lord Dhanvantari for good health and whatever time we have in our life. One should live healthily, peacefully, where it should not obstruct our sadhana, whatever we are doing, till our last moment, our last breath. This health should support us. And Help us to keep pursuing our sadhana, enriching our thought process, our shravana, manana, and nididhyasana. That is our prayer to Lord Dhanvantari. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidaya Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidaya Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidaya Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Our humble salutations to Lord Dhanvantari. Now let's do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana. All of you, please relax yourself. Make yourself comfortable. For the next 10-12 minutes, your body should completely cooperate with you. For that, relax each and every portion of your body. Ease your body and sit in a position, head, neck and spine in a straight line. Completely stretch and relax your face, your forehead, your cheeks, your neck, your shoulders. Take a few deep breaths, as deep as you can. Now, the first level of meditation, Antarika, Drishyana with Savikalpa Samadhi. Keep observing your thoughts as a pure witness. Now you're looking at the mind. You're observing the thoughts coming into your mind. Without being judgmental, you're seeing the thoughts going away from your mind. At one point, there are no thoughts in your mind. Now slowly we move to the second level, Antarika Shabdanuvitsavikalpa Samadhi. Using the power of a mantra, Jnana Shakti, and using the power of breath, Kriya Shakti. Being in the present moment, neither in the past nor in the future. Stay put in the present and chant the divine mantra, Soham. So is the divine Paramatma. Ham is the Jivatma, that is you. Both are one and the same, is the purpose of this mantra. So keep reciting the mantra in your mind and see the unification of the Paramatma and the Jivatma. Now we go to the much deeper level, Antarika Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where you have transcended from your body, mind and senses, experiencing the pure Chetana within yourself. Being in the experience of the Chetana, Shakti. So so now take your attention to the tip of your nose and focus on the breath going in and out. Become aware of your body, your mind, the place where you are seated, and the surroundings. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Rub your palm, place them on your eyes, gently and lovingly open your eyes. Together, we all offer today's Gita Gnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord and receive His grace, mercy, and love. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Tat Sat. Thank you to each one of you for being a part of this wonderful spiritual journey. Till we meet on this coming Friday for Tattva Bodha, please do as much as sadhana as you can, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, and enrich yourself. Om Tat Sat.